It's a great pleasure, and we are very happy that new state of Telangana was formed, and it is going to be 29th state of India. Now, we want your views as a activist and as a human rights person. You have been into this movement from a long time. Can you please express how it will be, how the Telangana state, newly formed state, will work, and what are the good resolutions, and why, in what way it is going to help for the state?
In fact, I am extremely, happy personally for the achievement of the Telangana people of, this new state. In fact, this Telangana movement demonstrated that the people can fight against the powerful economic forces and powerful political forces and a large region. It's not, it's not common that people of a backward region, people who are economically relatively more backward, and smaller region winning over a larger region. This singular achievement has been possible because Telangana has had a long tradition of struggles. And I think that struggle tradition made the people to fight uncompromisingly, and finally now what role Sonia Gandhi played, what role KCR played, what role others played, yes, they might have individually played the role, but I don't think that it would have been possible but for, number one, the struggles of the people and the students of Osmania Kakatiya universities, who played a very important role. Students played a very important role. And what is very happy about the students' role is that they have been able to mobilize, and when there was a terrible repression, when they held a meeting in Usman University with 1 lakh, 1.5 lakh students, they conducted it on their own, which is not a small achievement, and it was very disciplined meeting. So I think somewhere the Telangana youth also have had that tradition. So one should compliment the students, one should compliment the employees, compliment the particular people in general. Now in the Telangana movement, there were two very powerful trends. One trend was that this political calculations and mainstream politics, role of the KCR, role of the Congress party, role of the political parties. The second was the democratic civil societal organization like joint action committees, then huge number of civil societal organizations. I think these joint action committees have come up not from a political culture, they have come from the society. And when the organizations spring from the society, they have a different culture. And there was a very refreshing change as far as these organizations are concerned. I have attended a number of public meetings where joint action committees organized. You could see a fresh breeze of thinking, unlike the political class which is entrenched in the power system. There is also very striking thing that happened, that Telangana struggle has thrown up number of artists, writers, singers and poets and speakers, the democratic voices. And in the villages, some of the the singers, they have come from the Dalits. And again, I would say that this is a major shift, that the oppressed people first time uttered their voice, and young girls, Dalit girls, were singing, and large number of people listening to them. This is, to me, is a major cultural change. I don't know how this will be consolidated, whether this will create a powerful voice against untouchability, and Telangana will gradually democratize, humanize, and untouchability. At least we can declare to the rest of India that this is one region where untouchability has gone. I hope that this entire process will lead to that. So I have lots of compliments, and I am very happy I have been a part of this movement, and we were able to see this movement bringing the fruits. But I also have my own concerns and anxieties. See, what happened at political level, if you look at the political composition, there is no qualitative change. So, for example, the entire cabinet today, Telangana cabinet, or all the MLAs and MPs, there is every possibility that they will get one more term in the next election. So that means for next 5 years, political leadership of Telangana is going to be almost the same, without much of change. One really doesn't know whether this political leadership of Telangana, which was a part of a very corrupt and oppressive system, will change qualitatively, and they will try to rebuild Telangana with more honesty, with more commitment, with more concern for the people, because it's a historic opportunity for political leaders to rebuild a region, and they will go down in the history as a set of politicians who have built a new Telangana. There is an opportunity. But I don't think the quality of the political leadership makes you feel that they will be able to rebuild Telangana, because whether overnight they will change, they will transform, they will become more people concerned, and they will remember their promises. That part I have a deep concern. But one possible thing that will happen, and it should happen, is that Telangana has 90% of Telangana population is scheduled caste, tribes and OBCs. Only 10% is the upper caste, unlike many other states. And this 90% of the people hopefully will throw up their own leadership. And the leadership will come from the communities, castes and the districts which are more backward. And the next elections, I have a feeling Telangana will have a more pro-people centric leadership.
Sir, I want to intervene
Yeah.
here. Sir, most of the people, as you have mentioned clearly, most of the Dalits who were strongly involved in the movement in the Usmania University as a leader, student leaders, as singers in the Telangana movement. But now, as the political power is coming, Velama and the Reddy, who are the feudal lords of Telangana, were again going to encroach the power in Telangana. How it will have an impact in the Telangana state, and how it will have an effect on the Dalit, Bahujan and minority communities in this state.
See, no, what I was telling, therefore, that qualitatively character of Telangana political leadership has not changed. That let's accept that. And I also said that it's very likely that the present leadership life is extended, right, for another one term at least. Now, therefore, what I am saying is there are two possibilities. One is this Velama Reddy or this upper caste leadership has an opportunity to work for the good of the people, right? Instead of just indulging in vulgar accumulation of wealth and corrupt and real estate, liquor, getting into that. That has been the character. But what we are expecting is, since the whole state has come because of a struggle, the leaders hopefully will be conscious that this Telangana is an outcome of a long struggle, and therefore they will try to be a part of the reconstruction of Telangana, hopefully. If that does not happen, then the next possibility is that within this 5 years, the people who struggled, these artists, the singers, these intellectuals, the democratic voices, now gradually will realize that the dream has not come true. What is that they fought for has not come true. And that, in my view, will lead to gradual, dilution of this upper caste, and then perhaps the communities, which are in large number, and communities which have suffered for centuries, communities, which have now become more conscious, and they also have their own educated elite. So I think the alternative leadership will emerge. Alternative leadership, in my view, should have emerged in the course of Telangana struggle itself. That did not happen. There is a leadership, middle layer leadership, which is, which has come from these, but the upper leadership, upper layer, that has not changed. All the political parties saw to it that no new single leader emerged from the students. In fact, there should have been a very major student leader, because now they have participated. But where is the student leader who is a symbolic? For example, even in 1969 movement, which was otherwise not as democratic as this movement, but there was a leader like Mallikarjun who emerged from medical college, and he was a major leader. This time, not even a single person emerged as a leader who can be counted at that level of political leadership. So that, I think, even Jayapal Reddy emerged from student politics. But this Telangana movement has not thrown up a single, leader. That is something very disappointing, But then, maybe after 5 years, Telangana will reassert itself. And the section which fought for Telangana, I think, will reassert itself. But there is still one disturbing factor that also worries me, is that parties like, reactionary parties like BJP. See, parties like BJP do not have any social base in Telangana, because Telangana has a totally progressive tradition of sacrifice and all that. But there is the danger, because now people have become very soft. Even a person like me, as far as the BJP's role in getting Telangana is concerned, they played, some role. They played some role that we have to acknowledge. If I feel that the BJP also played some role, and ordinary people definitely feel that but for BJP, would have not gone. And this type of Narendra Modi type of phenomenon, which is there, I think the communal politics have found some space in Telangana. I only wish two things, I hope. One is the BJP leadership of Telangana will not communalize and, create conditions like Gujarat or Muzaffarnagar, but hopefully they will be more careful. One. If they are not, then there is the possibility of communalization of politics. That's also not good for a democratic Telangana. That is one disturbing thing that has happened in the course of this struggle. But let's hope that any day, my faith in the people is that the struggles of the people always push a society one step forward. Right? Even though it may not look as a Telangana of our dreams, but definitely Telangana political consciousness has gone up one step forward. Second thing, what I am expecting is that this entire joint action committees, Dalit joint action committees, caste nations have come, student joint action committees there, employees joint action committees there, right? When you have large number of joint action committees, these joint action committees should get institutionalized. They should become a political force. Now, if the political leadership behaves irresponsibly, then I think this leadership of the joint action committees from the societal side should apply pressure on the political leadership to behave properly. So the force of the civil society in Telangana, it's there, but how does it get institutionalized? How will it generate its own legitimacy and leadership, and how will it continuously voice? And whenever a wrong decision is taken by the political system, joint action committee should raise the voice, and the political system should be a little afraid of of the public opinion. And if you put the political leadership under constant fear that if they take wrong decisions, if they become very corrupt, there is a strong public opinion within the society which will not keep quiet. I think if we can create that type of culture and that type of voices, I think the Telangana political leadership may not be, at least will not allow them to become just, real estate wallahs, liquor mafia, occupying the land, grabbing the public land. I think that we will be able to check. But that should be done only by this society and ordinations in the society, whenever political system goes wrong, we should not wait for 5 years to defeat them. Within these 5 years, whatever damage the political system does, we should be able to correct it. That democratic culture Telangana has. I am only hoping that this democratic culture will get a more institutionalized form, it will become a collective pressure, and it will become a counter pressure on the political system not to deviate too much from a dream that the Telangana people had. I think that is what I am hoping it will happen.
So this one last question. See, there are hundreds of tribals are submerging in Polavaram project,
Yeah.
and in the context of this is separate Telangana state, how the justice is going to happen?
This is what happened. As the Telangana dream was coming true, Telangana people became very soft, and they wanted somehow Telangana. Right, and they also felt if they miss this time, it may take long time for getting Telangana. So it was a very compromising mood of the people. It is in that compromising mood the Telangana political leadership, even Telangana society, considered Polavaram. So when the Congress Working Committee included Polavaram in its resolution, there should have been resistance. But everybody was afraid if you start fighting, then they say that no, now Telangana is not possible. So they said, all right, let them say whatever they want to say. With the result, what happened, see, in fact, I have written an article that are not people of Polavaram, the submerged areas which we have now transferred to the Andhra region, are they not Telugu people? Are not Telangana people? Now, if we have fought for Telangana, how come that we sacrifice some villages and some tribal people, and at the to the in other words, we have given them something like a sacrifice to the Andhra region. That I think we should not have done it. But two things in the bill which are very objectionable. One is power to the governor, and the second is the Polavaram. These are the two most undemocratic things that are there in the bill. We have a police governor and with a police mindset, and therefore it would be very, very undemocratic because the governor is not a political, has not come from public life. Secondly, the whole Polavaram project, the way we have agreed, I think these two things Telangana movement should have objected. And even Andhra leadership, political leadership, should have trusted the Telangana leadership, and both of them should have sorted out. You can't surrender the power of the public public representatives to governor, an appointed person. That should have happened. It's even against the spirit of the constitution. But these people do not have confidence in each other. So because they don't have confidence in each other, they went and surrendered the power to the governor and said that manage the conflict and all that. And now the name that are heard, something like Vijay Kumar coming as a governor's advisor, he was a greyhound person. I do not know. That appears to me very disturbing, because no one police governor and another police officer as an advisor. Normally, whenever there is a president rule, the advisors to the governor are very matured. Now, for example, when 1969, when president rule was imposed, 70s, Sarin came. He was very, very matured. But today the political culture has changed. Now you want to give the power, and if the governor is a policeman, governor's advisor is a policeman, I do not know. Perhaps government of India, having considered Telangana, they would like to take a law and order approach to Telangana, not a very democratic approach. That means they have considered Telangana not because of their democratic commitment, but because of the compulsion, coercion from since they have accepted it because of they feel they have been coerced. Now the response is, having considered, they are taking a law and order approach and thinking in terms of the police officers and thinking of the coercive apparatus of the state. It is not a moment of total celebration. What I would say is that we would have celebrated the whole thing if only it was a little more democratic. So one feels that it's not completely a democratic this one, but still since the Telangana has been achieved by the people's struggle, I feel happy that people's struggle in modern India still have a space and still they can succeed. That I think is my personal happy.
Thank you very much, sir, for your inputs, and we hope that all the parties or all the political stream will also take your consensus whenever they are going to take decisions in rebuilding the Telangana, and we hope that there will be a social justice will be prevailing in the new state of Telangana, and it will fulfill the needs of all the majority population of Telangana. Thank you very much.
Nice.
Thank you.